Welcome back, guys. My name is Chris Patrick, and today we get to go over our CRCRC race that I have attended back in the early January of 2021. It is the first race, big official race of the year, and it also is one of the most prestigious when it comes to the length, the annual event. This particular event has been going on for the 34th year in a row. It is held at the Ohio RC Factory, which is obviously my hometown. So with that, let's get you guys going with the video, and let's come along and see what happened. Hey guys, Chris Patrick checking in. We got Bob Barker here. Hey Bob, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
So your first CRCRC, right?
Yep, sure was.
And
had a ball.
How'd you like it?
It was great. Had a ball. The track was awesome. People were great. That's one of the main reasons I go, is to have fun and meet everybody, and it's always a good time.
That's what matters. Gotta have fun. Enjoy the hobby.
Yep.
So it's your second trip here, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Came earlier for one of the points races.
Okay. So you're gonna come back, right?
Oh yeah, definitely
Okay.
be back.
I'll see you next year if you don't make it to any other club races.
All righty.
Nice meeting you.
Sounds good. Take care.
Have a good one.
Thanks.
So at the CRCRC event, I was able to race two different classes, the stadium truck and the two-wheel drive buggy. Both of them, I was able to put together what I felt was a pretty good program for both of them, especially considering the experience that I have on that two-wheel drive stadium truck. That was the second ever race that I've ever had that truck even in. So, and that for me, experience-wise off-road, that's the second ever race. So I'm pretty happy with the results. I had a lot of fun, got to meet a lot of new people, even a couple other YouTubers, and I appreciate the support that I was getting from absolutely everybody, and also along with some of the teammate friends that I was able to race with. You guys know who you are, but we were able to share some feedback between each other that helped a lot for all of us drivers. I felt like the Raw Speed team group, we were working pretty good together on trying to figure out some of these tires. We tried a whole different new compounds for some slicks with Raw Speeds. I think they worked really, really well. Track came around to exactly where we thought it was going to end up being. Kurt did a fantastic job with the track and rebuilding it again. getting ready for that particular race, which he modified some things, changed the direction around, manipulated a couple of different things, and finally was able to run a race with the tabletop on it, which was kind of cool for me because Kurt doesn't typically do too many tabletops. All in all, it was a great 5-day event. So some history with CRCRC event is it is a 5-day event that's always held the first big race of the year. And with that being said, it's also one of the longest races in the RC community when it comes to the prestige of the length that it's been running. It is the 34th annual CRCRC Midwest Championship held at the Ohio RC Factory. It originally was in Columbus, but that particular group of people ended up losing it, and it ended up going over in the hands of Kurt, I think 15, 16 years ago, something like that, and he's been running it ever since. So I appreciate you, Kurt. Thank you very much for putting out that particular race. So during the race, we'll start with our two-wheel drive buggy. It is a 5-day event. Practices is on Wednesdays and Thursday, and then seating was Thursday night. Unfortunately, I did not get to seat in either one of these classes. I had prior arrangements that unfortunately I just could not get away from, so I was forced to miss seating, and I was perfectly fine with starting in the last group. The problem with starting in the last group is it's the last group, so either you're dealing with people that wrecked a lot during their qualifying seating session, or younger kids, or whatever the case is. You're just unfortunately dealing with the lower end crowd of drivers. I'm not much better than anybody else, I will admit that, so that's probably where I was going to seat anyway. So with the two-wheel drive buggy, we started obviously dead last. I believe there was 18, I'm gonna say 18. I think there was 18 classes of two-wheel drive stock buggies when it comes to races. And the first round of racing, I was struggling with some rear grip, and I think I had a mechanical issue of some sort that ended up putting me out. I don't remember exactly what happened. I just remember that I did not put a good race together with my first race out. Just a bad experience. Going into round 2, I focused a lot of my pit time on the two-wheel drive, rebuilt all my shocks on both the stadium truck and the buggy at that point, and I felt a lot more confident in my driving abilities because now that I finally got some more track time and was happy with where the vehicle was at, I ended up taking a podium, ended up finishing first in my heat race for round number 2, which I was extremely happy about, taking a victory of any sorts at a CRCRC event. So kudos to me for that. Yes, I understand it is the last group of people, but I'm happy to have any experience, and including the win.
Daniel, Gavin, Fitzpatrick, Ivan, Carver, John Cohan, Logan, and Ava. Okay, a couple laps in here that Gavin showing the way. Fitzpatrick, Cash Glover up front. Five laps, which we made here early. Patrick jumps out front now. Gavin here. A 3-second gap. Glover the 3, Ivan, and Logan. 10:45 still stays out from Chris Patrick. Chad Glover through that hot lap 21-1, comes up to that 2 spot. Up and off the straightaway, was cleared. Patrick Glover got picking here. Ivan and Daniel Walker. So 14-5, flat pace for Chris Patrick. Halfway point out, 2:30 down, 2:30 to go. Again, walk off the straightaway, cleared. Patrick still up front, putting on 15 lap pace now. Got Glover in that 2 spot, Pittman, Walker, and Ivan Torres. And we're just under 2 minutes remaining now. Patrick still in that 15-5-21. Start finish line, and we're clear. There's a half hill here. Chris Patrick still out front. Calls back to a 14-5 flat now. Over about 3 seconds back, Gavin in the 3, Daniel and Ivan. Watch triple, guys, stay wide, coming on the triple, stay wide. Get cleared. And we're under the fifth game now. We got Chris Patrick out front, falls back a little more now, 14-5-03. We'll finish off back there, they're trying to find it back to 15. 11 now, just a second back. And I'm fired, guys. Keep going to your game.
That's what done. Chris Patrick done.
Going into round 3. Round 3 went fantastic as well, and so did round 4. Both of those races together, I was able to put some decent times in. I think I finally made my goal of hitting a 15 lap going into round 4 of that event, and that bumped me up quite a bit from where I was trending to start the mains and where I end up qualifying into the mains. So some of the footage that I have, I do apologize in advance. I did not do a ton of recording during the event because I was more focused on driving than I was recording and trying to make YouTube videos for you guys. But I was able to scrounge around some videos thanks to Live RC for the support on you guys on bringing somebody out to let us race, but also you guys to record. Unfortunately, I'm a one-man band. I don't have a filming crew that can give me really good footage because it's just me and my GoPros and my digital SLR that you guys are seeing here right now. So I'm limited on what I can do while driving and racing and everything else. I hope you guys understand that. But with the video footage, thank you guys for Live RC for that and what you guys do for the racing community in the RC world. That is amazing. So going into the mains, we're going to set this up for you to understand why I'm upset. It was the H main, I believe it was. And obviously I know that I'm behind the pace compared to a lot of other people, but I started on position 1. So I started on the pole, on the grid, in the H main. So I'm going to go off of a little tangent. In a big race, I understand people are going to get out of your way when it comes to qualifying, but when it comes to the mains, you've got to pass. You don't wreck people, you've got to learn to pass. So racecraft is something that I'm going to do a whole different video on, but I'm going to play the video of what happened here. Let me know what you guys think on exactly how you feel that I was treated going into this race.
Your pilot 75, two-wheel H main. We're on the zone. Alright, not too bad up front here. Looks like the first and 7 cars or so. Clean start here. Chris Patrick gonna lead him around. Alright, Patrick Rodriguez topping. Going away here. Looks like they're going to pull away top. Looks like about 4 cars in the back section now. A little bit of breathing room out front here. Looks like Bob's got the 2 spot off that point there. Going to take down Jose now. The 2-3 cars go to the point here. Smokey in the 3 now. Looks like Patrick's going to fall all the way back. Big pass to him now. He's got some work to do. Right now, he 1-2 up and over the tabletop in the back. That's the strike. Rodriguez topping. And then Smokey. 1 down, 4 to go. Come on, table, not the back, guys. Come to the strike, easy. There we go, cleared up. And let's find the leaders get heavy arms over the table to the strike. Rodriguez, Bostic puts pressure on him. Bostic hot laps again, closing the gap there. Less than a second to clean him. Goes a clean track for him. Oh, Rodriguez gets it wrong. Bostic on the inside, Jose closing. On him right there again. And again, has to strike traffic now. Rodriguez ends out, goes up, Bostic gets around him. Down the straightaway, leader now on Mike Bostic, that's 2 cars. Rodriguez going to be right behind him. And traffic now for Bostic coming off the triple. Leaders coming to you guys down the hill back there. Gives us some room. They're racing for a bump up. Got the lead already. Wow, Rodriguez having trouble on the table. Bostic pulls away over the straightaway lead now. Let's see, looks like Walker now. Smokey can get around. Oh, Rodriguez still holding that 2 spot. Nothing got by, but Bostic now going to pull away big time. He's feeling pretty comfortable working through traffic now. He's got Rodriguez having all sorts of trouble now. Let's see where that 3 and 4 car is. Bostic and I big lead right now. Half the track probably. Lead now. Still got 2.5 minutes to go. Lots coming down the back section. Got them all over. Looks like Rodriguez might have broken. See where Daniel Walker is now, about 8 seconds back to Bostic. He's got Smokey right on next. That's the race for second. Bostic in breathing room right now. Walker's doing it to 180. Stay wide. Oh, that's hard. Okay, they still want people. All right, let's see where our leaders at here. And the infield over the triple now. Mike Bostic, that big car. Doing the work, close 10 seconds back. Chris Patrick makes his way back to 3rd. Half a second back to Smokey tight race there, but Bostic steps out. He's 14-second lead. Still a minute and a half to go. Bostic needs to keep it together, keep it smooth. No broken parts. Pretty sure he plans to sign that car all together here on Wednesday to get it going. Now up front here in the main, looking for a bump up. Still putting those good hot laps. Comfortably out front. Still got Smokey, Chris Patrick. Still a tight race, Daniel Walker right there. 3-way balance in second. And we're down to 1 minute to go. still about 15 seconds lead there. Buggy. Daniel Walker, Fitzpatrick, still tight race in second, and this one, 45 seconds now. Oh, watch that second there, get through there, get through, okay. Walker still out front, comfortable here, 30 seconds remaining. Daniel Walker taking over that 2 spot, still 15 seconds back from Bostic. 168 seconds in the race here. So Bostic feeling pretty good about that front up here. And time has expired to get the strike to be done. Bostic with a victory lap there, takes the bump up. Get that ball ready, you got a break.
So as you see, going into the mains for the two-wheel drive Buggy, I unfortunately got the short end of that deal and was punted by somebody that had pretty much minimal to no respect. He was sitting right next to me on the driver's stand. I made a pretty rather serious comment, basically saying if you can't pass somebody, don't wreck them, especially on the first lap. Going into the mains, and that's part of racecraft. So those are things that people need to learn to do when it comes to big events, big races, and learning things. So why push the curve a little bit going after one full lap and trying to cut inside of me, knowing that you wasn't going to make that corner, and you just punted me to the side. So whatever. Like I said, I'm gonna make a whole another video on racecraft that just because of that topic, and that particular clip is going to become part of that video. But let's move on to the two-wheel drive stadium truck. So the stadium truck started off really loose, and I was just more of going for consistency than anything else, because I don't have a whole lot of track time and race experience with a two-wheel drive stadium truck. So running full-size slicks on the stadium truck the entire time. Both vehicles were on slicks the entire race. I did not have any treads on with me. I took some double yellow raw speeds, which are super soft long wears, and some clays, which are white. I had 2 super softs and a set of clays ready to go for the Buggy, and I had one of each ready to go for the stadium truck, and I did not even attempt to try to run the clays. Was trying to fight the battery position, moving it forward and backwards a little bit, and tried some ride height adjustments to try to give me a little bit more rear grip without giving up front steering. I felt like the front was pushing and then the back was loose. It was kind of a balance act that I was fighting with that particular vehicle the whole race, but ended up getting bumped into the second group after into round 3, and ended up staying there the whole time and qualified. What was it? I think I qualified 18th out of all of the stadium trucks, which put me in the B main 8th, if my math is right. 9th. Sorry, it's 9th because they're bumping one. So it started me 9th in the B main in the stadium trucks. So I was pretty happy with that. So going into the race, I knew that I wasn't going to win because I knew who was in front of me and some fellow racers that have been racing trucks for a long time that I have been asking for some help from him for quite a while. He's helped me come a long ways. So I was just basically going along for the ride, trying to stay on the lead lap as much as I could, and I ended up having a blast running stadium truck class. I felt confident in my driving abilities with what I had and my equipment and the time that I have with it, and I was super stoked to come home with what I felt like was a victory for me, which was getting into the B main in the CRCRC event. So we're gonna roll some video footage for you guys to see some of the truck race.
Awesome, bring drivers ready. This was our dark side design. 35 shading truck, B-Main. All the phone drivers.
Well, that was interesting.
All right. Three teams start here. All around. Pretty good. Ain't qualifying. Using that E-Main race, that E-Main spot now. We've got the front hand and right in the neck here. That's what we call top 4 bars here. On the right, we got Miles back right there for him. Front hand in there, and he's first. Oh, some connect to the ball there. Ooh, we'll get there for all Miles, but hold on to the front hand right behind him there. Up under that tabletop. Right, 1, 2, and 3 down this first and 3. Top 20 guys in the field, go wide. We're still there, and clear. Well, our leader looks like he's playing and having trouble down the hill when he's all Miles. Look at this ringer in here now. It's Mark taking over that 2 spot, about 3 seconds back. And they go through the infield now. Some of that back section down the hill, our leader. There goes Miles across. Hard across, 1.6 seconds on the straightaway gap there. 4 miles, 10 miles, this is traffic on the triple now. Straightaway guys get easy clear. Miles, working through the traffic. Got the spurt right behind him, so hot at the Miles there, hot at the spurt. They are driving hammer down, all Miles gets loose to 180, spurt to go inside, oh, there's the 2. Can't put it in there, so Miles holds on the lead out, spurt upside down, triple guys, go wide. Oh, looks like some trouble there, looks like they're back down back to the Let's see where the front hand is, look at the play, and takes the 2 spot now. And that's the 3, short back to 4. That's to give Miles a little push here. Not going to get into the traffic. Watch triple guys, go wide. Hey, go wide, now easy. Go there, go inside now. And it's clear, Miles coming through there. The front hand back over last cars. He's winning now. 2:15 to go. Close the time here for the front hand. Miles doing some work though. And a 4-second gap here for Colin Miles. On top of the front hand, this one. Trying to get that AA name. Just under 2 minutes to go. Miles doing some driving through traffic there. Good job. Down the straightaway. Now a little bit clean back for him. The front hand. Coming drop now. His hot lap. Still 4.5 seconds back. Good traffic from the front hand. Miles catching up to the last car here coming to the track. He's got a little bit of cushion still over the front hand now, 1.5 to go. Front hand, some of that traffic in front of him between him and Miles. Miles working through a little bit as well. Just over 1 minute to go. Oh, the front hand trouble in the back section here. Oh, some more trouble at the strike. Put it across the line, there you go. 100 minutes to go, Colin Miles now. Feeling pretty good. About getting that 8 here, tough. Top 20 either side, take it wide.
Pull it.
Go ahead, take it wide. Don't drop it,
Pull it.
Pull it out.
Take it up.
And that one in trouble as well. Let's see here, we got 20 seconds to go.
Going into the CRCRC event, some things have changed, and I'm sure you've already figured out some of it. The biggest difference is my Buggy went on a diet. New bodies, new stickers, obviously making it nice and fresh and clean. But I was able to scrub about 30 grams of weight off of my Buggy. I'm trying to get it down to about 1530-ish is what I'm shooting for, and I think I was at 1540. I think it's 1545, somewhere right around there. So next step I'm getting is a smaller servo to try to scrub just a little bit more weight off that front end. But the same setup that I've been running for the most part has continued to stay on here. I did change some shocks around, or springs I should say. So I am running blue V1s in the front and gray V1s in the rear. So that helped with the higher bite, with the amount of rubber that was getting put down on the track. That balance worked really, really well. Ride height, I ended up going down to an 18 millimeter for ride height, and ended up bumping up my timing on my motor because I was definitely on the struggle bus when it comes to speed compared to some of the others. So I ended up having to bump up my timing to make up for that. That did not happen until I went into the mains, so I'm okay with that. I didn't want to overheat or anything like that. Don't want to stress my rig too much, just to try to have some fun. So the biggest change with the front end, actually the whole thing in general, is switching to a true 25-degree front camber, or front caster block. So I'm going to do my best to explain this. Hopefully you guys can comprehend what I'm doing. So inside the Buggy is your steering blocks. So when you set this to 25 degrees, a lot of people will run 5-degree blocks on their rear hubs to make 30 degrees. So we switched to zeros on the hubs, which gives you a true 25-degree caster. The problem with that is it messes up your bump steering when it comes to your steering rack, because it's not truly designed for the 25 degrees. So the AE guys suggested taking this front top plate right here and grinding down the very top edge, which is way up here. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. So that front edge right there, we took this plate off, ground that down to clearance, a 2mm spacer on the bottom side of your steering rack, which is down here. So with that 2mm spacer in the factory one, that's a 3mm spacer that you're adding to compensate for having a true 25-degree front caster. I hope that makes sense. You have to notch that top plate to clearance the extra spacers. So what that allowed you to do was it gets your car more square. You're able to have a lot more control going around fast sweepers that are super flat. It helped the vehicle stay planted on power on the dirt. That's the best way I can word it. If it was more of bankings and more ramps and everything else, then I would say probably have left it at 30. But because this track was super flat, super long, super fast, sweeping, that right there alone, hands down, made this vehicle so much better going into the mains. I can't stress how that modification made a huge thumbs up, or huge improvement for drivability. So the rest of it pretty much stayed the same. I did end up rebuilding the back end a little bit, but the actual setup has not changed at all. So I'm still running a 1mm spacers on the inside and outs, or the outside A post on both the upper control arms. I've got a, looks like 2mm spacer, 2mm on the ball studs on the 6.2 on the ends, on both ends, and the shock positions are in the middle on the top and the farthest inside option on the rear arms, and then the front shock positions are on the farthest out position, and then the farthest out on the front A-arms. The rest of it, I mean, that kit, the rest of that hasn't changed at all. So, super, super, super happy and fun with how this thing ended up turning out for me during the race. So, the truck still has my same setup that I've always had in it. The only difference with this particular vehicle is I struggled to keep the electronics in on it because I had a malfunction, or a mechanical malfunction, I should say, during race number, I think it was race one or two. About halfway through, the speed controller popped off, and the on-off switch popped off, and it popped out of the car and then just shut it off. And the turn marshal didn't tinker with it; he just set it down. So I can't blame the marshal. It's not his fault. It's mine. It shouldn't have happened. I think it came off 3 out of the 4 heats that I raced. I was fighting really bad nosedives coming off of the back tabletop. So that tabletop was probably the biggest struggle for me as a racer, because the way it's built, it was very inconsistent. On where you hit it will depend on how your car reacted. And the stadium truck was by far the worst of the two when it comes to inconsistent ramps. So what'll happen is I hit that ramp, and as it hits it, I'll come up in the air, and then the back end will just do one of these, and then it'll come straight down and land on its nose, and then flip over and take off again. I did that probably 5, 6, 7 times. So the body survived the race pretty well, actually. I've got a couple marks on it, but that's nothing to be expected. So all in all, both vehicles survived really, really well. I did end up breaking one part the entire race, and that was a front A-arm. I think it's front A-arm. Yeah, front A-arm on one of these sides. I don't remember which one it was, but it was on the truck. The Buggy, I did not break a single part on it the entire race, the whole event, and just the one arm. So yeah, I'm happy with that. So with that, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I know this one's going to be a long one because there's so much footage that I've got to cover between both of these vehicles. I want to give Raw Speed a huge shout out. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to run for you guys at the CRCRC event, and I look forward to racing more in the 2021 season, but also any more CRCRC events. I hope to be there as well. So with that, thank you all for watching, and with that, I'm out here. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful and fantastic day.